Okay, so let's see. We are going to be making, I kept changing the name of this project because it can be lots of things. It started out as a resolution jar where you would keep track of your resolution that you make for the new year. But then I kind of fell in love with this different idea where it's kind of a jar. I called it my good things jar, or it can be, if you can actually decide if you're going to write different words on here. But what I had thought was this could be a really cool thing to do over the course of the year, like whenever something good happens or something that just makes you happy happens. You can just have a little scrap of paper and drop it in there and just be like, just drop it in there because you never know. Those little things are things that you might not remember. But when you come to the end of the year, or if at some point you are feeling sad or something, and you can just open up your jar and start reading the things that happen. Like maybe you got a really good grade, or you, made a basket and or any kind of little things, or you saw the sunset and it was really cool. Any of those kind of things that you could just drop it in the jar, and then when you need to look back, I would probably put a little date on there so you can look back at all the fun things that happen. So that's what this, the thought behind this was. But of course, you guys will decide. I put good things because just all the good things that can happen throughout the year. And you can start over with the following year. So hopefully lots and lots of good things will happen this year. It'll be bursting with stuff. So for the design, this is going to be a little bit more abstract. And I'm just going to kind of walk you guys through doing kind of more of an abstract design. And you should have a big brush, a little brush, a cup for water, a little sticker like this, blue one, your paints, those colorful ones, and the black. And then you should have your pink paper with the word. And I'll show you, if you don't want to use good things, you can always do something slightly different. So the first thing that we'll probably want to do is we're going to want to stick our sticker onto the pottery so that we can paint more freely and leave that space for our words. So I would just peel that off and stick it on. Make sure all the edges are really down. I always kind of put the center down first so that it kind of lays flat. If it's got bubbles, it really doesn't matter. It's more the edges that matter, that they're stuck down. So if you have little bubbles, no big deal. And because this is a really fun abstract design, you're going to be able to kind of, I'll show you a little bit later, kind of coming up with your own look for this, but I'm just kind of showing you how the colors look when they're fired. They're kind of, they look really light in the palette right now, but they will change and brighten up, okay? So, just like always, I always tell you to kind of, we're going to start with our bigger brush. But just like always, I always try to have you get your brush ready to go, prime it to go by getting it a little wet and then drying it off to the side. From the color palette that you have, I would pick color. You're going to want maybe your 2 or 3 favorite of those colors. And I would start with your favorite, the one that you want most dominant on your piece. Like if you like the blues and the greens more, or the yellow the most, you're going to want to start with your favorite of the colors on here. And I think I kind of started with my blue and green on this one. Okay. Just to make it a little different, I am going to start with the purple. The purple is all the way down on the end, and it looks more like a periwinkle kind of purple. Chose kind of fresh colors. I don't know. So what you're going to do, the very first thing, it's almost, we're going to start by making, this is a very abstract design, so you can't go wrong with this. You're going to make, watch me for a second first, because I want to make sure. You're going to want to make blobs, exciting blobs. Just kind of make shapes. It's almost like making a camouflage design, but you're going to want to leave a lot of space. This favorite color of yours is going to be the biggest blobs, okay? So you're going to make them and spread them out so that, see, I'm going to put one on the top here and then maybe a big one down in the bottom here, just kind of an odd shape. And again, as always, I'm going to dip back in my paint. If you want to even add a little bit of water to your paint, I like to loosen it up a little bit, especially when they're in these little pots. They tend to get kind of thick. But if you loosen them up with a little bit of water, mix it in there, you can make the blobs a little more easily. But so I have one kind of going off the bottom here. So I kind of ended up making just 3 big blobs of my first color. So I would, and you can see they're kind of just these, almost like starting with camouflage. I like to do that. And I'm doing it on its side, which is easier for me and probably easier for you, but we don't want to forget about the lid. So if you care, you can do the lid completely separately, or you can kind of carry your blob over onto the lid. So like it continues over, however you decide. It looks just as good if you do it as a separate thing. But I'm going to kind of carry it over so it looks like it's creeping over the edge. So make them kind of big enough that but you want a lot of white space because we're going to add more blobs. I'm going to carry this over to the edge as well, just a tiny bit. And if you want, you can 1 coat or 2 coats. I wouldn't do 3 necessarily. It's more like a abstract design, modern design. Almost like cow spots. That's what it's like. And I think I'm going to have one of these at my house. I think we're also going to have one here at Crackpot so we can remember good things that happen throughout the year. And because we need to be reminded of good things, don't we? It's nice to be reminded of good things. So you can see I left a lot of white space in between. And you can go, like on my one piece, I went a little bit over the sticker. We want to do some of our spots when we're putting spots. We do want to go right on top, let it kind of hang over the sticker. It doesn't have to be this first round, but at some point you're going to want some of your stickers to, some of your spots to go right on top of the sticker so that when you pull it off, you have that sharp edge. But it can come later if it doesn't work for where you laid your spots first. And I guess you'll be looking at the jar from the front. So since this is, if it's your favorite color, you might want to make sure you get, I'm going to put one more spot down here, just at the bottom, because that way I'll always see the color that I like the most. I don't know, they're all good colors. I don't actually like any one of them more than another. It might be just a mood thing. I made my one spot carry over to the bottom too, just because. Might as well finish the whole thing, right? It's looking good. I wouldn't worry about too many coats or anything like that. Part of it is just there are going to be kind of layers of things happening here. So um, when you're done with those spots, you can clean out your brush and dry it off. And then I would choose your second favorite color, whichever one you're going to want to do as your second one. And I would choose a spot that you're going to go and maybe overlap just a little bit. This second spot can be just as big, if not just slightly smaller than your first set of spots. But kind of keep it and fill in more of the white space, but maybe overlap a tiny bit over the other one. So I'm gonna make it's almost like camouflage, like a little weird shape over here. And I kind of made it right next to the other one. Then I'm gonna turn my piece and I'm gonna actually make it connect the two on the other side. I'm just kind of overlapping a little bit, but I'm filling in some of the white space. And again, I'm gonna loosen up this green because it's kind of, by putting just a tiny bit of water in it, and it will go on so much more smoothly. And just kind of throughout this whole thing, just kind of take a step back from it a little bit and kind of make sure you see the big picture of where colors are going, and like that there's a little bit of green here, a little dab there, and that you're kind of watching where you've been and how the colors are going down. But again, you're still going to want to leave some of the white space because we have more colors to add. So we want to leave room for some more colors. So at this point, you should have spots, but still lots of space available. And I think the more wet your brush is, the more it's easy, and the more you loosen up that paint, the easier it is to get it to have nice shape and lay down nicely onto the piece. So it's starting to look kind of like cow spots on here. I guess I'll put a little bit on the top. And you guys keep going at your own pace with what you're doing to your piece. As you can probably imagine, the next step is picking your third favorite color and doing the same thing, but this time maybe make your globs a little bit smaller. And make sure you look and find spots where you need to fill in the white space more than anything. And add a little glob in the middle of some of the white space. Make them kind of, and this third spot, since it's third favorite, maybe the spots are a little smaller. And they can overlap a little or they don't have to. Sometimes when the colors aren't like next to each other on the rainbow, they that's how I know usually if they're going to turn to a good color or a weird color like brown or something. So like if they're across from each other or like not right next to each other on the rainbow, they often will turn to an ugly color, like green and pink together will turn brown. But since red or pink and orange are next to each other on the rainbow, those mix beautifully, or purple and pink. But really, as long as you're not overlapping like or mixing them, it'll still look cool. Don't forget your lid in all of this. When I was doing the example, I forgot about it for a little while. But you can always come back to it and add it back in. And it's okay if you still have a lot of white spots because we still have colors. More colors in our palette. And you don't have to use all of the colors in the palette. If you prefer, like if you like some of these colors and you don't want to add too many more, you can, that's fine too. Like if you don't want one of the colors or something, it's kind of fun. And I'll show you what we can do once we get to this point of having 3 colors on here. Right now we're just kind of getting a base of our favorites and filling most of the piece with color. And since I do want more colors, I'm going to go for my 4th color and then add even smaller blobs and just kind of fill in more of that white space. And they're all kind of connecting still like cow spots or camouflage and filling in the space and kind of oblong amoebas that are covering different spots and kind of connecting them a little bit. And take a look back every once in a while and because a lot of times I'll look back, I'll step away for a second and I'll be like, ooh, need a little splash of yellow on this spot just to even things out and to balance things the way I want it. And don't forget to kind of put something going over the edge of that sticker so that when we pull it off, you have an edge. But we're going to make sure that happens anyway, so. So while you guys are working on that, next month we're doing, I thought we'd do something a little different in case you're interested for next month. We're going to be doing a board art project. And we're going to do, I don't know if Alex and Owen, if you've done board art before. I couldn't find a good example of the size that we're doing, but I have this really old one. It's just a wooden design, wooden art, but we're going to be doing, this is all black because this is the design that I'll print out, but we're going to be doing a gnome for Valentine's Day. And the class is on the 10th, but because it's board art, you don't have to bring it back here to be fired. It's on wood, and I'll send acrylic paints home, and you'll do the design at home. I'll walk you through how to do a wooden sign. So it's just a little bit different. I create a stencil for you guys, and that one is on the 10th, and you don't have to bring it back for firing. That way, on the 14th, if you have to give it to someone as a Valentine, you got it. So if you wanted to make sure you add all the colors, you can also on your, like, for instance, the last color that you do, you can just do, if you look at this example, I decided to do little swooshes or blobs of color, like just to fill in here and there of some of the white space. You can see I did a little sploosh of pink here and there. I did a little blob of the purple on this one here and there. So I'm going to, with the orange, just kind of do a little swoosh of color here and there, just to make sure it's represented on the piece. And filling in a little bit of the white space and just kind of spacing it out quite a bit. But just adding it in here and there. Now I didn't paint the top of my little ball yet. On the top, I think this time I might make it black, but I'm gonna say black till the end. So don't, if you can choose a color, like on my sample, I did a purple one, so it doesn't have to be black at all. But I think this time I might do it black. How's everybody doing? Good. Can I see? Can you hold it up a little bit so I can see? So far, so good.
We're doing good over here.
Okay. Awesome. It's what?
I said it's fun.
Oh, good. I think I used all the colors. Yes, I did. Now, after you're done, like once you know you've used your colors for your design, of course, you're welcome to do, other stuff on the inside, but I'll let you do that like after we're done with the class, if you wanted to add any color on the inside or anything like that. However you want to do that. Once you guys keep going with your color, I can't tell if everyone's still going with their color or not. But what we're going to be doing, I think I gave you an extra sheet of paper, white paper at some point. So when you're ready, I think I gave you a piece of paper that is kind of like a doodling piece of paper. And right now I don't, let's see, use this. So you can see that on top of the color, I almost kind of just completely ignored the colors that I'm putting in the background. So they end up being just the background, like almost like a wallpaper, but then you're going to be doing doodling designs all over your piece in black. And if you want, you can use color for some of this doodle too, if you want. But I'll show you in black. But before you do any of that, what I want you to do when you're ready, somebody's calling me. Sorry, somebody was calling me. I was afraid to push anything. I didn't want it to dump the call, the Zoom call. But you can kind of think like on mine, I have like leaves and I made these little arches that are supposed to be like little rainbows. I did leaves and a little, like almost little plants coming out of the ground. But my favorite part are like what looks like little tadpoles. They're my favorite part of this whole thing. They're little tadpole, like swarms of tadpoles and like swarms of dots in between some of the other designs. And I think that's what makes it look so like the abstract look. It's actually kind of what you would call mid-century modern. If we want to get fancy. You're probably selling a lot of houses mid-century modern. Yeah. It's kind of the trendy look of the day right now. So this is kind of cool. So is anybody ready to see doodles? Alex and Owen, are you guys not ready? Okay.
I'm almost ready. Almost.
Okay, it's just hard for me to tell. So just let me know. I'm gonna let you guys work on your colors because I want you to make sure you get your colors the way you want it. So when you turn these in, we'll glaze them and fire them and they'll be ready a week later. And yeah. You guys all know the drill now. All of you guys did the Christmas plates. Those turned out so nice. Those trees. Oh, my phone got all messed up. So kind of off to the side when you're ready, you can take your skinny brush and just, like I said, my favorite part are the little tadpoles. They're just little dabbing down my brush. Again, I kind of loosened up the paint with a little bit of water and I'm just making a little dabs with the brush. Think of it like a swarm of little fishies swimming across. So not necessarily in any particular order, but they can kind of swarm across. Like I have them going this way and then I have them going that way. And I just kind of make a bunch of them. In another spot, I might choose to do dots with the back of my brush. So you can dip your brush and make dots. You know, dots like that, and they can trail off and be smaller. And that is almost like a little grouping of bees buzzing around. You can also practice a little bit of some designs that you might want to do. Now I have these leaves, and the way I did this little sprout of leaves coming, I usually start, I'll even turn my piece upside down, and I'll make my stem first in the way that, in the direction that it grows. So like from the ground up, and I'll make a line. And you can make a line coming down from the top. It's up to you. And you don't have to do this design. You can come up with your own designs. That's what I love about this, is you can do whatever you want. But then I would just kind of go up one side with almost like little eyes. And then on the other side, I'll stagger them, and I'll start from the plant and make them like that. If you want, you can add a little line in the middle or not. But then you have like, I kind of did it upside down. But you can make leaves like that if you want, and keep it loose and just fun little doodles. You can make, I made these little rainbow designs like this. But practice first so you like what you're gonna do. You can make little diamonds like that. You can make just zigzags like lightning, like just kind of a little zigzags here and there. And kind of work your way around. So I'm gonna get back to my piece. And again, I'm gonna add a little water. I always like my black especially to be a little inky, like a little looser and a little runnier, a little bit. And I'm gonna start with, I don't know if I should do leaves or not on this one. I guess I will. Should I do leaves? Nod your heads. Leaves? Okay. So I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm just going to kind of make a big arch one like this. Do you guys want me to go in order and you guys make these along with me? Or do you want to just go for it and do your own thing? What do you guys think?
Em said, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
That's okay, because we just unmuted.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna make a different design.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start doing it, and I'll show you as I go. And you can decide if you do the designs I do or not. I was thinking this would be kind of free form and whatever you wanted, and I would kind of walk you through some of the designs that I did. But what I would do is like kind of get a few on here, and I'm kind of just keeping it really loose and simple. I keep it to very simple things like little, I mean, it could even be smiley faces. Just little fun things. And you would want them to be very spread out. So there's one like that. I'm going to take my lid. And I would probably do the same design and work your way around. And then go to the next design. Does that make sense? So like if you're doing leaves, spread your leaves out just like you did with the colors, one color at a time. You would go one plant at a time. Like I'm starting with this plant, and I would do probably just 3 spread out in different places on my piece. And then I would go to my next doodle. So one doodle at a time. And then kind of keep track and kind of spread them out so they're nicely spread out, and like almost like so that when you look at your piece, you can see them from different angles. So I'm gonna just do a second one like this. And I'm making it shorter just for fun. And then I'll do a third one. It doesn't have to be 3. I'm just saying that you spread them out. Who's on there black? Just raise your hand. You don't have to unmute. Okay, cool. So I'm making leaves. So if you're following along with me, we're making leaves here and there around the piece. Little plants. And since I don't have one in the front, I'm just going to do a little one peeking out from behind here. And if you look closely, I'm okay when it doesn't turn out perfect. Like my brush got a little dry. It's kind of that sketchbook look because this is supposed to be kind of, you know, just kind of loose and simple and sketchy looking. So I've got like 4, and see how spread out they are? They're pretty spread out. And then I like having all that space in between. And then I liked having my little zigzags. So maybe I'll do the rainbows again. So the rainbows were kind of like these arch, just 3 black arches like that. And I'm just gonna float them like they're floating all over the place. There's one there, but again, I'm leaving space for other stuff. We're just gonna show up here and there. And I can go over the sticker because then when the sticker comes off, there'll be a line. And I focus on that. And again, here I go again. I'm forgetting my lid. I'm gonna make a little leaf design somewhere on my lid. And I kind of like this little diamond thing that I did here. So we'll just do a couple of those in some of the open spaces. Could be a sun, could be a star, all kinds of things you could do. Kind of ends up looking like a cool piece of fabric too, because it's just got the designs floating around. And you don't want to fill it too much, but just whatever you feel like you want to. And when I get to this point where I have these open spaces, I'm just going to pick a spot. I don't know why this is my favorite part, but to make my little pools, my tadpoles, I just start making little, pick a spot and make a swarm of little tadpoles. You can always add more stuff later. And then just, because the cool thing is that all the color is going to show afterwards much brighter. Right now it's very dull. They can even kind of run into each other. Like this one, my leaves it almost looks like rain now. And if you need to, every once in a while, sometimes you get too much paint on your brush with the black. Sometimes you just might want to clean it out completely, even though you're going back into the black. Just clean it out completely and dry it off and then start again, because sometimes it gets, just after using it a while, it gets kind of gunked up on there. But make sure you dry it off because you don't want the black to run. And then I'm going to just make more of my tadpoles. I don't know what else to call them. Kind of looks like raindrops. Then I'm just adding little zigzags here and there. I guess it could just be little doodles of things that make you happy. And then I'm going to do the little dots. That was another thing, just a swarm of dots here and there. Just careful not to get your finger in there. Sometimes it can get a little busy. Sometimes you can leave it pretty sparse. And either way has a good, it'll feel good. And your little swarms of dots can happen here and there. And then you're going to want to let that dry a little bit. I'll take the lid off so I can show you. And I just did what I said I wasn't going to do. And I got my finger in there. So you always just turn it, if you didn't mean it, make it look like you meant it. So I'm going to turn those into blobs. And then nobody will have to know, except me, that I got my finger in there. And then since I want it to look like I meant it, I'm going to do another set of those blobs somewhere else. Sometimes those mistakes turn into the best thing ever. And then, in fact, I think sometimes those mistakes turn into an entirely new project. You're like, oh my God, that looks so cool. I'm going to do a whole project doing that, that look. You fall into some of these designs. So I still have my sticker on. And I think, and at this point, I think I am gonna paint the knob, you can wait to paint the knob after or whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and paint the knob. Today I'm going for black. You can make the knob just as designed as the rest of your piece, have the design carry over onto the knob. That is fine. Try to get nice 3 coats in there. You don't have to, but this time I want to. Sometimes I try not to have 3 coats. That's going to look different. This one has that. While I'm at it, I'm just going to do a little. Did not do this on my other one. I'm just going to do this. Okay. And doodling with the skinny brush, really, if you're ever having trouble, making sure your paint is a little watery and just using the very tip of the brush, and you are going to be refilling it all the time. I know you guys have heard me say that all the time. You're just going to have to refill your brush frequently so that it always has a lot of color to drop onto your piece. It's so much easier to get skinny lines. So once you start running out of color or the color starts drying out on your brush, you end up trying to push harder, and that makes a thicker line because more of the bristles touch. So just keep dipping back into your paint. And when you get to a good point, I would go back to your thick brush. And I'm going to, just to make a perfect, if you look at my example, I have a nice black line around the whole thing. I took my thick square brush and I went half on, half off of the sticker. And I went all the way around. Or maybe even a little, yeah, however much you want your outline to be. I went half on, half off, and worked my whole way around the sticker. This is especially where you need to be careful that you don't get your hand in it because it's not going to dry on the blue sticker. So the paint's going to stay wet. So you got to be careful not to get your hand in there. But if you work your way around the sticker, and then I'm going to let that dry. At least make sure the outside part on the pottery dries. So I have it all painted like that, but as you know, under that sticker, it's going to pull right off. And we'll let that dry. So I took a little paper towel, but you don't have to. I kind of dried it off a little bit, just the sticker part. Because that part on the plastic, it's just not going to dry, but. I like this project because it's like just doing all the little doodles and stuff like that. It's kind of free form. It kind of has a little personality, kind of fun, kind of zone out and kind of do what you want on your piece. I can kind of see Carrie and Emma's pieces, but can I see your guys's? Where are you guys at? Is it wet? Oh, nice. Love it. Beautiful. Did you do the around the sticker? Did you do the black around the sticker?
Not yet. It's the
Okay. Okay. Fun. I always love what you guys do when you guys do something different. It's what makes it fun. Oh, nice. I like how you did that. Right on the lid, little heart. So I want it to dry enough so that we can pull it off carefully. So I'm going to kind of pull back just close to the edge very carefully. Sometimes if you have a pin or something nearby, that helps. But I'll pull it back. And then I'll have a beautiful little spot for our words. Ta-da! Now, if you have the pink paper that I gave you, you can use, usually a ballpoint pen is the best to trace it on. You can cut it down to the exact size if you want your pink paper, so that you can fit it perfectly if you want these words. If you have other thoughts on what your words will be, you can write those words on another piece of paper and just put the pink paper in between. Like cut them down and put it in between, and you can make sure your words fit just right before you do it on, or you can take a pencil and just write it in there first. I would definitely write your words first before you paint them though. So either pencil and just write it in there and just make sure you don't want to use an eraser on pottery. So you're not going to want to erase a bunch of times. So in that case, I would probably, if you were writing your own words, I would write it on another piece of paper and make sure you get it to the right size that you want, and then trace it in here with the pink paper. Did you have a question?
Do we have to make the black outline on
No,
the-
not at all. Especially if you have already put your colors up to the edge, you don't have to have the black outline at all.
Also, do we do the black outline with our skinny brush or the big brush?
I used the big brush and I kind of went half on, half off, or maybe a little bit more on than off, so it's nice and skinny. But yeah, it was a lot easier with the bigger brush, I felt.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Now the words on my sample are in black. If you want your words to be a color, that's totally cool too. This is your project. So I like when you guys do what feels right for you. So yeah, I did black words, but you can do a different color if you want. And if you write with a pencil, I have to think of something else to say. I guess another thing that I like I said in the very beginning, I said that I had gone through lots of things that this jar could be. And one of the things that I was thinking this jar could be also was, when you are bored and you don't know what to do, especially now that we have to stay home so much, if you made a list and put of all the things that when you're bored, like, how you think, oh, I could have done that when I had nothing to do. All those little things that you could have done. I'm sure your moms could come up with stuff like clean your room and those kind of things. But I'm just thinking more like fun things. So like you could keep a list of little scraps of paper so that when you were bored, you could be like, pull it out. I know my son, he probably could use it for like what to do when other than being on my screen. And I could give him a list of things he could do because he always forgets that he could go outside and shoot some basketball. I mean, shoot some hoops, but not when it's snowing, but but I think I'm going to stick with good things. All that to say, I think I'm just going to stick with good things. But if you are writing your own words, you can sketch it on like this. I'm just going to go good things. I just gave you the pink paper because I know it's not everyone's favorite thing to fit it in the space. And then you already have lots of practice with skinny things. But when I'm doing letters, once again, you want to just use the very tip of your brush and you're going to do one line at a time. I reload my brush so many times when I'm doing letters because I start running out of color. And I just go little by little and very tip of the brush. I'll do half of the O and then the other half of the O. So I tend to have more control when I'm going in one direction. Like when I'm pulling the brush towards me, I feel like I have more control than when I'm pushing it away. Some people might have the opposite. But take your time with letters because doing little by little definitely makes a difference. Alex and Owen, how old are you guys?
11.
And I'm 12.
Okay. My son he just turned 13. He's in 7th grade. So I didn't know what school you guys went to. A little bit older than you. Going very slowly around the letters. And you know what? With all of these things, if you put a guide down and you can't stay on top of the guide and you start, don't fret about it, because all those lines, the pencil lines will burn away, and the marks that the pink paper make go away as well. So that is my good things jar. And just because I like swoopies, I put little swoopies just because just makes it happy. And as with everything, I always recommend that you sign your art, because someday if you become famous, it'll be worth lots and lots. And your mom will, or somebody will be sad that you didn't sign it. And I'm going to write 2021. I've only had a chance to write it a few times, but I am writing 2021 on the bottom. I messed up a few times. I wrote 2020. And one time I wrote 20,021. Or no, 20201. I don't know what I was thinking. And that is your, who did good things? Good things? What about you guys? Did you guys write words? Alex and Owen, did you write good things or something else?
Alex is currently
Writing cat treats.
Cat treats. That's a good one too.
and I'm trying to get my sticker off.
So if you get a little pin, a safety pin or something, stick it under there.
I got it.
Okay. Emma, what did you write? Good things?
Yeah.
Can I see? Can you hold up your, or show? Oh, are you?
This is Emma's.
She's doing it.
Oh, it looks good.
I don't like the pink paper. I always mess up.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So the colors, these colors in particular, look so light when they're right now, but then they'll be, yes, I guess I should have said that this container could be used for anything, but these were the purposes I had in mind for this time of year. So as with all of these projects, you guys, I don't know about you, I have a ton of paint left. If you wanted to, you can use, you can paint, the inside of your piece. I didn't do that part. That I figure you guys could do what you want with that. But yeah, even if you use up the paint or don't use up the paint, if you could let us have the plastic containers back, that's awesome, because we sanitize them and we reuse them. And it helps a ton, because there's kind of, well, number one, we don't want to use so much plastic, and number two, there's sometimes a shortage of getting these guys, so we totally reuse them. and your brushes and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully you'll like the idea of next month doing board art for something a little different. And I send you with lots of colors. So I'll have a color sample ready to go, but I'll have colors that so you can, make it your own. And yeah, I hope that's good for you guys. Alex and Owen, have you done board art before? No? Well, I hope you'll join us and see if you'd like it, because it's kind of cool. It's just it's different, and then we'll get back to pottery after that.
I might have to sign up again because I love board art.
I was just thinking that. That's funny that you said that.
Yeah, she'll probably do it with Corby next month. So with my luck, I don't know what the timing will be. She'll probably be at her house and then I'll do it here by myself.
Oh, that's okay. You'll be joining us.
Yeah. I think I love doing board art.
Good. Yeah. Well, we'd love to have you.
So I'll probably bring this in next Monday. Is that okay at Art
Yeah,
Smart?
whenever works for you. We have kind of new hours. I think I just told you that. We're here now 10 to 6 on Monday through Thursday, and 10 till 8 on Thursday and Friday, and then noon to 5 on Sunday. So yeah, whenever works. And so I actually had a few people, who had their projects that just we do a lot of at-home projects, just people ordering just for regular painting. And they were concerned because they had forgotten about it, with COVID and with all of the shutdowns, and they thought it doesn't go bad. So as long as it's just sitting there and, it doesn't go bad, you can bring it to us at your convenience, but I'm sure you want it back. So
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'll just bring it Monday when she comes to class. It's easier
sounds
for
good. Sounds good. Yeah, and then everything will be ready at the same time.
Perfect.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Can I see yours, Carrie?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love it.
A little wet because I had a little chip here. And then here's my lid.
Yay.
And I
Awesome.
did the inside.
Yeah. Well, I figured, I saw that. So that's good. Yeah. There's plenty of paint to do that if you want to.
All right, well, we're going to log off, so we'll see you on Monday. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Say bye.
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 I think we're gonna go. Bye.
All right. Sounds good. I'll look forward to seeing your pieces in person. Have a great night.
Thank
What
you.
mine looks like.
That looks awesome. And let me see yours.
There it is.
Getting closer. Awesome.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, have
Bye.
fun. Have fun finishing. Bye.
Bye.